Welcome back to Ask The Pedalist. This is Mukund. I want to start today with a question I've been sitting with for a while. How much of what we do on the bike, the routine, the habits, the things we just accepted as fact, how much of it actually holds up? Because I've been riding for over 20 years, and in that time I've picked up a lot of advice. From coaches, from forums, from other riders in car parks, doing quad stretches before a group ride. We'll come back to that one. The thing about cycling culture is that it's incredibly confident. Everybody knows the right cadence. Everybody knows you should stretch before you ride. Everybody knows you need to carb load before a long effort. But confident isn't the same as correct. As I've started to wonder, how many of these things did I just observe because everybody else was doing them? How many of them have I never actually questioned? That's what today is about. I'm going to walk through three pieces of advice that almost every cyclist follows. And I'm going to be honest about which ones I followed too for years without ever asking whether they were right. Let's get into it. Piece of advice number one: stretch before you ride. I did this for years. 10 minutes before every ride, hamstring, quads, hip flexors, touching my toes in the driveway. The neighbors probably thought I was doing some kind of a ritual. The logic made sense to me. Tight muscles plus sudden exertion equals injury, right? So loosen the muscles first. But here's the thing. A few months ago, I started actually reading the research on this. And what I found surprised me. The evidence doesn't support it. Not for endurance athletes, not for injury prevention, and not for performance. There's a meta-analysis from 2013 that looked at over 100 studies on static stretching before exercises. The finding? It temporarily reduces muscle strength and power output by around 5 to 6% on average. 5 to 6% right before you need to produce power. Now I know what you're thinking. I thought the same thing. That can't be right. Everyone does this, which is kind of the point. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you what I found when I actually went looking. What works better is a dynamic warm up. Leg swings, hip circles, controlled movement through range, or, and this is what I do now, just clip in and spin easy for the first 10 minutes. Let the ride be the warm up. Simple, free, and it actually works. Piece of advice number two: ride at 90 RPM. If you have spent any time in cycling training content, you have heard this one. 90 RPM is the optimal cadence. It's what the pros use. It reduces knee stress. It improves efficiency. And there's truth in it. I'm not going to pretend there isn't. Higher cadences do reduce muscular fatigue on long rides. The research on that is reasonably solid. But here's what nobody tells you. 90 RPM for a pro rider on a 6-hour stage is a completely different physiological experience than 90 RPM for a lifestyle cyclist on a Saturday morning. Your optimal cadence depends on your fitness level, your muscle fiber composition, the terrain you're riding, and honestly, what feels natural to you. I've ridden with people who are smooth and powerful at 70. I've ridden with people who fall apart below 85. The 90 RPM rule is a starting point, not a law. And if you've been grinding yourself trying to hit a number that doesn't feel right, give yourself permission to experiment. Find your cadence, not someone else's. Piece of advice number three. And this one I want to be careful with because there is real nuance here. Zone 2 is everything. In the last few years, Zone 2 training has become almost a religion in endurance sports, and a lot of it is genuinely well supported. The metabolic benefits are real. The aerobic base it builds is real. But somewhere along the way, the nuance got lost. I've talked to riders who are doing so much Zone 2 that they have stopped doing any intensity at all. No intervals, no threshold work, just easy miles indefinitely. Because they read that that's what the pros do. What the pros also do is train 30 hours a week and have a coaching staff monitoring every biomarker. Zone 2 is a critical part of the training pyramid, but it's the base of the pyramid. At some point, you have to build on top of it. The point isn't that Zone 2 is wrong. The point is that taking any single piece of advice and applying it without context, without understanding why it works and for whom, that's where we get into trouble. So, where does that leave us? I think the most useful thing any of us can do is stay curious about the things we have stopped questioning: the stretching, the cadence targets, the training dogma. Not because they're all wrong, some of it holds up fine, but because understanding why something works is always more valuable than just following the rule. This is what Pedal My Way is built on: training for people who ride for clarity, adventure, and simple living. Not performance culture, not gear obsession, just honest information and real training tools. Everything is at pedalmyway.com. The PMW Fit app is free on Google Play. No account, no subscription, no data collection, just workouts. And if this episode made you think about something you've been doing without questioning it, hit reply on our newsletter or find us on Instagram and tell me what it is. I genuinely want to know. I'm Mukund. This is Ask The Pedalist. Train smart, ride often, and question everything, especially the stuff that everyone around you has stopped questioning. See you on the next episode.